What is up, my bodyweight warriors, and welcome to a new series on squat flexibility and how you can improve your squats. Because I know there's a lot of issues out there and I've been requested this so many times, so I'm going to go a full in-depth series on this, looking at each different respective part of squat flexibility. Today we're going to be looking at the ankles, how you can tell if they're tight and what you can do to fix them and then integrate them into your squats. Any videos in the rest of this series will be linked in the description down below when they become available. Let's jump straight into this. Now the ankle is only one component of your squat flexibility, and one way to tell if it's tight, we can do a very simple wall test. To do this test, you're simply going to need a wall and you're going to need to be barefoot or in very flat minimal shoes. All you're going to do is measure a hand's width away from the wall. You're going to place your foot in line with this measurement, and then you're simply going to try and touch your knee to the wall whilst making sure your heel stays on the ground and that your foot and knee doesn't cave inwards. So we just want our foot to be traveling right over kind of our big or second toe. If you can do this, great. You probably have good enough ankle flexibility to do a squat, and it probably isn't going to be the limiting factor in your squat. However, this is the acceptable passable amount of dorsiflexion. It could be worth improving it if this is just on your limit to a little bit more, so you have comfortable amounts of range there. So if this is right at your limit or you cannot reach this amount, then guess what? We need to start working on some ankle flexibility, and here's the routine in which you can do that. This routine is made of 3 very simple exercises. We're going to start off with some soft tissue work. We're going to look at just a nice relaxed passive stretch, and then we're going to work some end range closing technique. The first drill we're going to be looking at is the Laughin squat stick drill. This drill is something that I covered in my hamstring flexibility routine, which again, I'll link down below, and I'll also link to the full video that Kit's made on this because it's great and it covers in a lot more detail I'm going to cover in now. It's essentially a myofascial release for both the calf and the hamstring, which often limit your squat. So all you're going to do here is you're going to need a stick. I'm just using literally a broom handle here, and you're just going to wedge it right behind your knees, kneeling on the ground, and all you're going to do is you're going to kneel back onto that stick and apply pressure. This may be pretty tender, and it's going to vary where this tenderness is. It might be right at the top of the calf, might be at the bottom calf. You're about to find that one out, because essentially all you're going to do is you're going to sit back on it, and then applying that pressure and trying to keep that pressure constant, you're just going to work over the period of about 120 seconds or 2 minutes. You're going to roll that stick from the top of your calf all the way down to the base of your calf. So you sit, pause for a bit, embrace the suck, roll it down, repeat, and then keep going until you cover the whole calf. This should give you a pretty complete soft tissue work for the entire calf, and it's also going to hit a little bit of the hamstring, which can also limit your squat. The second exercise we're going to be looking at is a dynamic stretch for the calf. And for this, you're just going to need a ledge or an object in which you can elevate your foot. And all you're going to do is you're going to step onto it, place one foot, balls of the feet on the edge of that object, and then you're just going to drop that heel down into a stretch. From here, what we're going to try and do is we're basically going to work on bending the knee and then straightening the knee. So we're going to bring ourselves in and out of a bent leg and a straight leg calf stretch. When we're bending the knee, it's important that we try to think about pushing our knee over our toes, but we're not going to do this by lifting up the heel. We want to keep that heel down, and we want to feel the stretch actually get more intense on our ankle. When we're doing this, we don't want to let our knee drop into the side as well. It's also a compensation. We want to just make sure we're tracking that knee right over that big/second toe. We're going to move it backwards and forwards relatively slowly for 10 repetitions in and out of that straight leg position, and then we're going to hold it for 30 seconds at the end in that straight leg position stretch. You're then going to repeat that on both sides. And I would recommend here that you might want to repeat this for a few sets. It kind of depends on how tight you are. If you feel this a lot, then you might want to do 2 or 3 sets. If you don't feel this so much, then 1, maybe 2 sets will be enough for you. We've done the soft tissue work, we've done the stretch. Now let's get into the end range closing drill, for which we're going to be doing a weighted dorsiflexion ERC. So for this one, we're going to start and we're going to need basically a kettlebell or a weight. I'm just using an end of a dumbbell here. Somewhere between about 5, 10, maybe a little bit more kilos if you're particularly stiff. Find what feels comfortable for you. From here, you're just going to start in a squat position, as deep as you can go into a squat. You're then going to take one leg out of the squat and place your knee on the ground with your foot behind, so you're putting your pressure over just one leg. And it's important that here we want to try and maintain the same sort of position that our leg and knee would be in if we were in a squat. You're going to place the weight on top of your knee, and then all we're going to do here is we're going to try and push our knee as far as we can over that second big toe into dorsiflexion. It's really important here that we don't let that knee cave in again, because that is a compensation that we're not looking for. We also want to make sure we don't let that hip sink out. We just want to keep in a similar position to how we would squat. Once we hit our max range, what we're going to do is we're going to perform an end range closing technique. To do this, what you want to think about doing is you want to think about trying to lift your toes off the ground. So you should be feeling quite an aggressive contraction in the top of your foot and the front of your shin, the tibialis anterior. It might be a little bit weird initially to get the contraction and understand how to contract your muscle in this way, but kind of bear with it for a bit and get that into your head. As you get more used to doing this and you get better at doing that contraction, you'll get better results from this exercise. So repeat that for 3 reps, 10 seconds of max effort contraction, 5 seconds relax in between. After each of those contractions, you want to try and sink deeper into that dorsiflexion stretch. After we repeated those reps, all we do is we're just going to move in and out of this position for 10 repetitions, pausing briefly in that end range. So you're going to move out, then you're going to move back, trying to push that knee right over your foot as far as you can, and then you come back. Key here is not letting the heel come off the ground and just focusing all of that movement coming from your ankle. After we've completed this on one side, we simply go back into our squat position, put the opposite leg down, and then we put the weight on the other knee, and then we do it on the other side. If you find that you get some pinching in the front of your ankle doing this exercise, then you can simply use a band, of which I sell on my website, and I'll link that down below. And you trap this around your ankle, and then you simply perform the exact same exercise, just with your ankle distracted of a band behind you. I'll put a link in the description down below to some more ankle distraction techniques. Again, this one's going to depend. You might find that you can get away with 1 or 2 sets here. You might find that you need to do 2, 3, maybe even 4 sets here to get a decent response from it. You could use this routine as a warm-up before you're doing your squats, or your leg day, or you could have it as a standalone focused flexibility thing in the week. Whatever it is, you need to be doing it roughly 1 to 2 times per week at a minimum, but more isn't necessarily better. Finally, I want to share an integration exercise. How do we take this new range of motion and apply it to a squat in a way that we can integrate well and progressively overload? And if your ankles are lacking, then the easiest way to do this is through a heel elevated goblet squat. For this, what you're going to need is basically a variable height to elevate your heel. So for example here, I'll just use some 2 kilo plates that I was using for the dorsiflexion routine. Put them on the ground about squat width. I then place my heels on it, and all I'm going to do is perform my normal squat, but I'm going to hold a weight in a goblet position, which is just in front of your chest. You should find that the movement is significantly easier. It's going to reduce the strain on the soleus and reduce the requirement for dorsiflexion. And then all you do is you find a comfortable range, and then progressively over the weeks, you just try to reduce down the height of which you're elevating your heel. So you put a smaller plate underneath, and then you might put, a folded mat. And then eventually the idea is to get down to just the floor, and then you've got some decent ankle flexibility for your squat. And that would be how you integrate this into your day-to-day training, so you can then gradually improve your range of motion in dorsiflexion. I know these exercises may seem simple because I have particularly good dorsiflexion of my ankle. However, I did manage to rope my sister into giving these exercises a go, and we did just 1 set of every single one of these exercises, and we compared her dorsiflexion wall test beforehand, of which she got 8 centimeters, which is just about passable for her with her hand width. And then by the end of just doing 1 set in each of these exercises, we managed to increase it to 11 centimeters. So that's 3 centimeters of increased dorsiflexion just for 1 set of each of these exercises, which is quite a large amount. But that is it for this week, guys. All the information about today's routine is in the description down below. While you're down there, why not leave a comment and join the conversation? Let me know what you thought of this episode. Let me know what you thought of this new series. If you have any questions, why not ask? I'm sure somebody from the tribe will be able to answer them, or I will if I can. Right next to that description box is also the thumbs up button, so you can hit that like button and support the channel, or you can join the channel with that subscribe button and become part of the Bodyweight Warrior tribe so you don't miss out on any more of these future videos. But that has been it for this week, guys. I'll catch you in the next episode. Have a strong week, and peace.